Hello, beautiful people. It is great to be with you. I'm Dr. Tassel Faith, and we have a really exciting episode today. 3 ways to powerfully heal your inner child. I have been doing so many different types of healing, expansive work with myself and with clients. And I must share that I do believe inner child healing is one of the most powerful ways to heal, to transform your inner world and thus your outer world. Of course, we know as within, so without. So I have been doing a bunch of inner child work on myself and also with my beautiful clients. So I really can't say enough about the power of working with our inner child and helping our inner child. So right now I'm going to share with you 3 really, really powerful practices to really transform your inner child's experience and really thus your life. Our inner child is holding a lot of energy within our being, and when we help her, when we heal her, when we work with her, we just see amazing results, both in our internal world and of course in our external world. So just, it's amazing. So before we start, let's just do a quick practice to connect with our inner child. This could be the first time you're connecting with her or him, or maybe you're practiced at this, but either way, let's just start with just a simple practice to connect with our precious inner child. So if it's resonant, I'll invite you to close those beautiful eyes of yours. Close your eyes. And I'm just going to ask you to see internally if you sense the presence of your inner child. It's possible you might see an image of her or him. You might sense her or him. You might hear her or him. You might have a feeling, sensation about her or him. So just see what comes in as you have your eyes closed and you're just in your body. Just see what comes in and just honor whatever you sense, see, hear, or feel. Okay. So that's just an easy way to connect with our inner child. And of course, we can have a conversation with our inner child. We can hug our inner child. We can play with our inner child. The list goes on and on. Okay, so let's get into the 3 practices. So the first practice is to commit to your inner child. Okay, so most of us in our lives, starting from when we were very, very young, we were taught to move away from ourselves. We were taught, really, you could say, to abandon ourselves, abandon our feelings, abandon our dreams, abandon our preferences, and really to abandon ourselves. So for many of us, part of what is so healing about what we're calling inner child work is simply coming back to our inner child who basically has been waiting for us our whole lives to have our attention, to have our help, to have our healing, to have our expansion. So when we commit to our inner child, it's really basically a homecoming. It's really just turning one's eyes back to our own inner child and really just being there for her. So just that simple exercise we did in the beginning, just connecting with her, just I keep saying her because I'm female, but of course it's a her or a him. So just connecting with your inner child, turning our eyes to the inner child and just feeling our inner child within us. And the more that we turn our attention to our inner child, the more we will feel her or him. It's a relationship that we are reigniting. It's a reunion with our inner child. So it's really, really beautiful. So that is the first step, that we are making a commitment to our inner child. We are going to be there for our inner child. We are committing to having a relationship with our inner child and showing up for her or him. And this alone, you most likely will notice as you do this more and more, you will notice most likely a greater sense of wholeness within yourself, a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of inner calm. Because as you are committing to your inner child and as you're really nurturing that relationship, she or he is feeling good, is feeling looked after, is feeling nurtured, is feeling taken care of. And this is going to affect your inner state, your inner being, your inner consciousness. So step number 1 is to commit to your inner child. And that could be just as simple as checking in with her at least maybe once a day if that feels resonant. Closing your eyes and again, possibly seeing an image of her, feeling her, sensing her, hearing her. Just being aware of her, committing to her. A further commitment that you can make to your inner child, if it feels resonant, is you can write down an intention. You can speak it out loud. I have made an intention with my inner child that I have committed to bringing her dreams for her life to fruition. I am all in with my inner child. Like many of us, my inner child went through a lot in the childhood, and I am 100% committed to her and to her precious dreams for her life. So that is a further commitment that you can choose to make if that feels resonant for you. And again, you can speak it or you can write it down. Okay, so that is practice number 1, making this beautiful commitment to our inner child. And then step number 2, practice number 2 is to honor your inner child. Honor your inner child. I love the word honor. I love the orientation of honor. I'm a licensed doctor of therapy, and in my clinical training, I had the great privilege of working with a wonderful therapist named Michael White, and his work was very focused on honoring his clients. And I'll never forget a therapy transcript that I read during my training. It was with Michael White working with a transgendered client. And we all know how difficult that life path is to be on this earth as a transgendered person. And one of the first questions Michael White asked this client was, how can we honor you? And when I read that in the therapy transcript, it brought tears to my eyes. I was so touched by that type of energy, that orientation towards a client. A lot of the orientations that I had studied were much more hierarchical, the therapist being an expert and the client being subjugated to the therapist's opinions and advice, etc. So this orientation has really stuck with me ever since I learned about it in my graduate school training. So, getting back to our inner child, honoring our inner child. And there's so many ways that we can honor our inner child. A really beautiful practice that I have done and I have suggested to the beautiful people I work with is to take a picture of yourself and put it in a beautiful frame and put it in a place of honor in your home. So I have an example here. This is me. This is me as I think I was probably like 8 or 9, and I put this picture of myself in a frame, and I keep it in a special place in my house, and it is a way for me to honor my inner child. And just energetically, this is just a beautiful practice, and we can feel it internally. Hi, Dean. So glad you're here. We are talking about 3 really powerful practices to heal our inner child, and I'm so glad you're here, Dean. So the first practice, if it feels resonant, take a picture of yourself as a child and frame it and put it in a place of honor in your home. Another very powerful way to honor your inner child is to really be in the truth of what your inner child experienced in your childhood. So, and this is not easy. It's often not comfortable. It's often painful to really look at the truth of some of the situations you may have been in as a child, some of the behavior you may have received from your caregivers or even other kids at school, for instance. But there's that beautiful saying, the truth shall set you free. When we live in the truth and we're able to feel the feelings that may arise, we really set ourselves free. Suffering, one way that I see suffering is when we're not quite living in the truth. We may feel sort of snippets of the truth, but maybe it's really painful and we suppress the truth and we're really not fully feeling. And then we can live in really almost an inner state of battle because the truth is trying to arise. The feelings are trying to come up for us to feel them and clear them. But our egoic self, our human self, out of fear, understandably, maybe pushing some of that truth, some of those feelings away. So one of the biggest thing that I counsel others to do is just to feel your feelings, to be in your truth, to just go there. And you really will find freedom. You will find peace, calm on the other side. In my own life, I have been doing just a deeper dive into my own childhood, just a lot of memories and feelings and truths have been arising for me, and it has been really uncomfortable. It has been really painful, but the more I do it, honestly, the freer I feel. Yes! Hi, Deborah. So glad you're here. I got a brother and a sister in the house. Yes, fighting fear to freedom. Yeah, what a great way to put it. I always say this, and I really believe in it, that the most courageous work I think we can do as a human spirit being on the planet is to feel those most uncomfortable feelings. I think it is the most courageous work we can do, and simultaneously the most transformative. I say this all the time as well. I don't believe you actually need to read any books, go to any workshops, listen to me on YouTube or anyone else. I believe the easiest, and it's free, the easiest way to move through your own transformation is just to feel your feelings. That is so powerful. It's free. It's available to you any time of the day. reading books and going to workshops and listening to others it can also be helpful. But the deepest work you will do is just feeling your own feelings. And sometimes we can bypass feeling our feelings by doing all this other stuff that will not have the same benefits. Feeling your feelings, moving through your own energy, moving that energy through you, that will have the greatest benefit, the greatest transformation for your life. I think we all are very aware that we are energetic beings. The energy we hold, what we be, is what we are magnetizing into us. Our lives are a direct reflection, our external lives are a direct reflection of our internal energy. And a lot of the energy that we are holding is from our inner child. Deborah has a question. Dr. Tassel, how do we stay with and access these hard feelings? Okay, such a great question. So we don't have to go looking for them. They will be coming up naturally as we go about our day. And we may receive what I like to call triggers or catalysts. So we all are probably familiar with the experience of going through our day, and perhaps we have an interaction with someone and we feel triggered. We feel hurt. We feel pain. We feel fear. Okay, there's something to feel right there. That's gold. That is gold. So if you're able to feel right there in the moment, if you have the space and time to do that, great. Or just remember it and come back to it later in the day, at night, when you do have time. Okay, so that's the situation. Something happens. It could be with another person or not. It could just be something that's happening to you, your computer breaks or something. And a charge comes up, something tangibly to feel comes up. Okay, that's the first step. Notice, okay, here's something to feel. Here's something juicy right here. You can even get excited about it because it is going to bring you transformation. Okay, so that's the first step. Something happens, you feel something. Okay, the second step, how do you actually feel it? Okay, so you can experiment with this. For me, I'll just tell you some of the ways that I feel my feelings. So you can sit down, you can close your eyes, and you can just be in your body and just sense what is there. And what you really want to do is, the biggest thing is just to feel the energy of what is coming up in your body. You just want to feel it. If it feels resonant, you can try to name it. This is a way to get further in touch with it. Oh, okay, this feels like despair. This is anger. Oh, this is heartache. So you don't have to do that. It's not necessary to label it in order to experience it. But if that feels resonant and that feels powerful for you, you certainly can. It is sort of further getting to know the energy. So, closing your eyes, tuning in. You can even ask it. As if it's a being. It's an energy. You can think of it like it being a being. You can even ask it, show me more. You are welcome here. Please come on up. Please come on up. Bring me more. Show me more. Show me more of you. I want to feel you. I want to experience you. I want to honor you. I want to be with you. Show me more. You can also tune in to where you feel it, sense it in your body. Sometimes you'll be able to notice, this feeling, like I'm feeling like kind of a pain. maybe in my stomach area. That could be in one of your lower chakras. It could be in your solar plexus chakra, or your sacral chakra, or your root chakra. It might be in your heart chakra. You might feel it in a certain other part of your body. The energies are stored in different parts of our body and are often linked to our chakras. So that's another way. Another way that I like to feel my feelings is to go for a walk. I find sometimes when my body is a bit distracted that I'm more able to feel my feelings. And something I do, I don't know if this will resonate, is I take my phone and I put on the recorder app and I just speak into my phone. And I'll just, as if I'm speaking to, say, a therapist or a friend, and I'll say, whatever's coming out. Oh, I feel so sad right now. I feel heartache. I'm so sad about what's happening with this relationship or this person. And I just speak it out. And I just sort of imagine the energy and the feelings just kind of coming through me out through my mouth. So I think speaking out our feelings can be very, very powerful. Okay, along with that, another way to experience and move the feelings, the energy through us is through, I would say, somatic body work. I've had experiences recently where I've had a lot of heartache come up, and I started basically like screaming and yelling, and that felt very releasing, and shaking my body and just contorting and moving my body as a way to experience and move through the energy. A really beautiful practice that one of my friends shared with me is also going in outside and laying down on the earth and asking Mother Earth to take the energy from you. So those are a few ways to experience the energy, to feel the feelings, to move it through you. If others have some more examples, please put them in the comments. It's so profound, so important to be aware of the energies that are within us, and to experience them and to move them through you. And what you'll also notice often when we are in this process of experiencing these energies, these emotions, these feelings, we will often see memories come up. It's our higher self showing us often the origin of these certain energies. It might be a scene you see from your childhood or another time in your life when these energies originated. And it's really helpful to understand these energies are not us. These energies are not us. They are living, hanging out in our energetic field because of a situation that occurred. Could have been trauma, or a less dramatic situation. But these energies are not us. They're there because something happened and we didn't fully process the energy at that time, so they're still with us. So part of the ascension process is to process, to feel, to experience, witness, be present with these energies so that they then can move through us. And what will often happen as well is on the other side of feeling and releasing these energies, there will be insight. There will be gifts. You may have psychic gifts open up as you release some of these energies, and your vessel just has more space to hold your gifts. You may have insights about certain things that happened during, say, your childhood, and just a better understanding of yourself. So there's so many gifts on the other side as well of these energies. And again, probably the biggest gift is just a spaciousness within you, a calm within you as you are able to release these energies. So Deborah says, speaking into our phone, asking ourselves questions, finding our voice, somatic, and lying on the ground, imploring Mother Earth to release our energies. Yeah, these are helpful. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. See, and you can always just come back to, show me more and show me how to release this. We can ask for help from the other side at all times. So this beautiful discussion, thank you, Deborah, for the great questions, is all under this practice number 2 of honoring your inner child. So as we're saying here, honoring in part is about feeling the feelings and really being in our truth. And Dean has a great comment. Talking and processing through a subject helps to bring closure and a finality and newfound conclusions that bring you to the next level of higher thinking processes. Exactly. Our feelings, the feeling of them, the processing of them, the insight thereafter absolutely always brings us to that next level of our consciousness. And that is the invitation of being a human spirit being on the planet. That's what we're here for. We're here precisely for that, for this amazing expansion of our consciousness. Our consciousness is the only thing we will take with us when we leave this physical vessel that we're in. So yeah, that's exactly what we're here for. So under this second practice of honoring your inner child, we want to feel all the feelings. We want to be in the truth. And to me, the last part of that is just to honor what your inner child experienced, what the younger version of you in your childhood experienced. What was the truth of what your inner child experienced? Just to share personally, I've been going a lot deeper into the actual truth of what my inner child, my little girl, the younger version of me experienced. And a lot of it was very severe. There was very severe trauma that my inner child experienced. And there can be, at least I have found myself and with clients I've worked with, there can be a lot of invitations to minimize the possible trauma that you went through, particularly from our family members, perhaps the ones who were involved in the trauma. Of course, my belief is that everyone is always doing the best they can. I don't believe anyone is trying usually to inflict trauma on another. It's usually from our caregiver's own injuries and unhealed trauma that this occurs. But nevertheless, the effect can be trauma. And so I'm at a state personally and with the folks I work with that we don't minimize what we did experience. We do not minimize it. We do not whitewash it. We do not speak of it in ways to suppress it because we're concerned about what other people are going to think, or we're concerned about hurting other people's feelings. So this has been a big growth point for me. I think I felt always a lot of pressure to not talk about what happened, to minimize it, to whitewash it in order to protect people in my family. And I'm in a space now where I realize that's really unhealthy. And the only way we stop these patterns of trauma in families is to be in the truth about what has happened, to talk about it openly, to heal it, and to release it and not continue to engender these traumas upon our own children. So it's only through the truth and talking about it and being very open about it that we can shift these patterns of unhealthy behavior in our families. So, and this brings I have found, again, like the first practice where I talked about committing to your inner child, brings such a feeling of wholeness inside. In fact, just over the past week, when I have started to be, say, triggered or feeling some hurts or heartache around different things, when I just use the phrase, I honor myself, I honor my inner child, I honor my experience in my life, I honor this feeling that's coming up right now, it's a game changer for me. It is a complete game changer. It brings an immediate sense of groundedness, of peace, of wholeness, which seems to sort of wrap itself around whatever uncomfortable experience I might be having in that moment. It's amazing. So this practice of just a deep, profound honoring of your inner child and what he or she may have experienced is a game changer. And then on top of that, and this I think is perhaps even more powerful, is to honor who your inner child has been through this experience. So for instance, when I look back at my childhood, which did have a lot of severe trauma, a lot of severe emotional trauma, when I look back at myself at that age, I really honor how I was able to move through all of that and to remain pretty grounded and pretty hopeful and still with a very open heart to life, to others, and very, very forgiving. And when we look back, we all may see different strengths of this little child that we were, that, wow, look what was coming in towards myself as a child. In some ways, it was really, really profound, really severe. And look at the strengths and gifts and abilities I did have through all of that. So really honoring who you are and who you were as a child and how you were able to move through perhaps some very difficult things. So in Michael White's work, who I mentioned in the beginning, he calls this the double-sided story of trauma. So it's not just focus on what happened and honoring what happened, but also focus on how you reacted, how you were able to survive, and what gifts and strengths of yours did you lean on and further develop, and who are you today because of what you went through and how you had to grow and lean on different gifts and strengths of yourself in order to move through that. So just an all-encompassing, deep honoring of your inner child, of what she or he experienced, and of who she or he is, was, and how that impacts who you are as the full being, this strength and treasures and gifts of your inner child. Okay, so number 1 was make a commitment to your inner child. Number 2, to honor your inner child. And then the third very powerful practice of healing, expanding, growing with your inner child is to be with your inner child through the triggers. So we just talked a bit about what happens when we get triggered and feeling our feelings, but I'm going to go through a much more detailed process right here about really, really being with your inner child through triggers. And it has really amazing results. Okay. So this is the process. It's a 7-step process. Okay. So the first step to be with your inner child through your triggers is Okay, so something happens in your external world. It could be with a person, it could be something that just happens on your own, but something's coming up. Okay, so the first step is number one, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? So we talked about this a little earlier. So what is it? Is it despair, heartache, jealousy, guilt, fear, unworthiness? So many uncomfortable emotions. And I like to call these uncomfortable emotions rather than negative emotions, because all emotions serve a purpose. All emotions help move us forward in some way. So I don't like that term negative, because I don't think they are negative. They are uncomfortable, but in the end, the feeling of them is going to give us a gift. It's going to show us something. Okay, so the first part is, what am I feeling? Okay, the second part of being with your inner child through triggers is, which version of me, which age of me is really feeling this? So, and this could take a little practice. If you're somewhat new to tuning into your inner child, it might take a little practice. That's okay. So again, like the practice we did in the very beginning of connecting with our inner child, I'll just use an example. Let's say something happens and I'm feeling heartache. So I might just close my eyes and just try to tune in. Okay, about what age of my inner child do I think is most fully feeling this heartbreak right now? Basically, we're asking who is feeling this heartbreak? And if you do that and you're not quite sure, just ask yourself this question. Okay, if I were to imagine which age of mine, which version of mine is feeling this heartbreak, what would I imagine? And then just see what comes up. That's a great way to do it too. Okay, so now you know what you're feeling. So in this example, feeling heartbreak, what age is the inner child who's really feeling this heartbreak? So let's say it's like age 8. Okay, so now you've got two really great pieces of information. Okay, now the next question is really powerful. You're going to ask yourself, when was the first time I felt this feeling? What is the core wound here, basically? So again, if it's helpful, you can close your eyes, tune in, ask yourself the question, when was the first time I felt this feeling? What is the core wound? And again, if you're not sure, ask yourself, okay, if I had to imagine when was the first time, what would come up, and just see what comes up. So let's keep going with this example I'm giving. So let's say when I ask myself when was the first time, let's say 18 months old comes up. Okay, so now we have a lot of information. Now the next question, the fourth question, is what does she or he need? So for me at this point, it's an 18-month-old who is experiencing heartbreak. What does she need? And again, just tune in. Just trust that your body's going to tell you what she or he needs. So, for instance, it might be reassurance. It might be just being there for her or him. It might be holding your inner child. It might be stroking your inner child. It might be saying, it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. You're not alone. Just tune in. Again, your body will tell you, your being will tell you what your inner child needs. And if you tune in and you're not quite sure or not a lot comes up, that's okay. Then again, go to imagine. Okay, imagine what this little 18-month-old needs. Okay, then the fifth step is to give your inner child what he or she needs in this moment. So in the example we're working with, it came up, reassurance and being there and holding her. Okay, so now you can do it. So, so I actually just recently have started using just a little doll as my inner child. And, there's a part of me that feels a little funny about it, I'll be honest. But it seems to be really helpful. So I have been basically holding this little doll as my inner child when sometimes when I'm doing this inner child work. So, okay, in this example, we've tuned in, there's heartbreak. The original feeling when this happened was at 18 months. What does she need? She needs reassurance. She needs to know she's not alone. Okay, so now you can just do it. So in this example, I would hold, actually kind of like to hold her like this. I would hold, this is my little inner child, and I'll just speak to my inner child. I am here for you. I love you. I'm so sorry you're feeling heartbreak right now. I want you to know that you are never alone. I'm always here for you. And whatever you're feeling, it's okay, and I honor it. And I'm sorry, I don't want you to be in pain, but I want you just to feel it. And I'm here, and I will never leave you. And I'm always here for you. You're never alone. You're never alone. And as you do this, just see how you feel inside. Just see how you feel. I know when I even, as I'm doing this as an example, it feels really healing. It feels like, wow, I'm really being there for myself, for my inner child. It feels really great. Okay, now, the last two steps are more optional, and if you feel resonant with it, they're kind of cool. So the sixth step is to actually go back to the core wound and change what happened in your third eye. So we didn't totally go into it, but let's just say in this example that the core wound, the first time, we're just using me as an example, the first time I felt this heartbreak was, let's say, it was the birth of my younger sister, and there was something that went on, and I felt maybe abandoned and not cared for because my younger sister had been born and a lot of attention was going towards her. So that was the core wound. That was this first experience of heartbreak. So in this sixth step, I can go back in my third eye, in my mind's eye, and just imagine a different outcome. I can imagine receiving a lot of attention and not feeling abandoned and being part of maybe the celebration of this birth of my sister. I can change the past. This has an energetic effect to go back and bring healing to the traumatic situation. It has an energetic effect. And so it's very, very powerful. So if that resonates with you, you can do that. And then as a seventh step, you can go back and in your mind's eye, change what just happened in the current time that brought on the original, the most recent heartbreak experience. So let's just say in this example that I was feeling heartbreak because of, say, an interaction with my partner. I can go back to what just happened and just change the interaction with my partner to something that feels maybe more loving, more harmonious, a different outcome. And again, this has a very powerful energetic effect. So those are the 7 steps of being with your inner child through triggers. And what is really, really interesting, so I recently, it was just this past weekend, I actually took about 5 or 6 really painful experiences that I've had over the past couple of years with my partner. And I went through these 7 steps with all of these very painful triggers. And it was fascinating. It was really fascinating because I could see so many themes. There were so many. I wrote it all down in this big notebook. I did the 7 steps and I wrote everything down. And when I looked back at the 5 or 6 different triggers with all these answers from these 7 steps, there were all these themes. One of them was a core wound that kept coming up was around my younger sister. That when she was born and some interactions that happened, those were real core wounds of mine that happened. And then when I looked at the part of like what does this inner child need, very, very similar through all these different triggers. So much about she needs to feel wanted. She needs to feel she matters. She needs to feel she's loved. She needs to feel that her needs will be responded to. She needs to feel cared for. It was just really, 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 really interesting to see the patterns. And we have interactions come into our reality as a match to the energy we're holding. And in part, it's orchestrated to be like that so that we can get to the feelings and the core wounds and feel them and move them through us once and for all. So in all of your relationships, when you get triggered, there's so much gold there. There's so much gold. And this inner child work gives you a framework to work with these triggers and to go in and heal basically the core wound. And you will notice over time that you're not experiencing the same things on the external because you've cleared it. You've gotten to the core wound and you've felt it and you've processed it, and so your external reality is going to shift. So it's really, 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 really powerful. And thank you so much. I see Mud Chat is on here, and she says, the first time I did something similar while meditating, it was profound and brought up such emotion. This is the work. It works. Much love. And now I re-raise parts of me as a constant thing. Yes, exactly. So I'm just moving because the sunlight's coming in. Yes, we are re-parenting ourselves through this inner child work. We are, and not just this particular work, but just in our commitment to our inner child, in our honoring of our inner child, in being with our inner child through the triggers. We are being the parent to our child that perhaps our inner child just was not able to have in their actual childhood because of our own parents' injuries and wounds that hadn't been healed yet. Yeah, so it's really, really, really powerful. I'm just loving this inner child work, and I'm amazed that the core wounds are, my own core wounds just have come up a lot in different interactions. And it's just about, for me, a lot about feeling like I matter and I'm wanted and I'm cared for and responded to. And just, my chat says, and that inner child learns to change in a loving, ease-filled way. We get healed, and thus our subconscious heals. Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's so many different ways to look at it. And it's just, what energy are we holding inside of us that is attracting, the interactions that come in. So when we do this beautiful work, healing our inner child, we are going to attract in different experiences and have different relational situations in our lives. So yeah, this is the work. This is some of the most powerful work you can do to, so you're going to transform your internal experience. You are going to feel so much more at peace and whole and calm and grounded and loved. And then as within, so without, you're going to experience relational experiences with those types of energies on the outside. Yeah, we can heal just letting it be a constant thing, a habit to take care of our parts. Exactly. I love that. That's a great point, Mudchat. As a therapist, it might be a more conventional view to think, oh, I'll just go to therapy once a week and work on myself. But as you're saying, this can just be a continual daily practice of connecting in when we get triggered, when something uncomfortable is coming up, connecting in and just doing the healing work as part of our daily life. And it really does have the most amazing benefits. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in live, or if you're watching this on the recording. And I just want to share, if you want to go deeper into the inner child work, please feel free to reach out to me in the comment section below. There is a link to book a free consultation call with me. I do lots of really powerful inner child work with the beautiful people I work with, and I love to do it because it is so transformational. And please consider liking or sharing or subscribing, liking or sharing the video or subscribing to the channel. All of that really helps me to be able to continue to do these videos. So thank you so much. So much love to you. So much love to your precious inner child. And yeah, please leave me any comments below too about your own inner child work and different practices that you use. And let's just keep healing and expanding and loving on ourselves. And this is really what transforms the world. Love you all. Bye.